Right, 21 minutes have gone after 4. Coming up next, we get into the 120 challenge active citizens. Right, this is part of 10,000 points of light. And I'll be joined by Angela James as well as Belinda. All right, trying to see if Devon Stone, Belinda, right, will be joining us shortly. Keep it locked and stay tuned to the 1873 family of Voice Power. All right, we also back with Priscilla as well as Mr. M will be joining in the conversation as we continue sharing knowledge and learning together on the drive. Keep it locked. Right, getting a bit of noise, not sure where it's coming from.
I think it's coming from Angela.
Oh, okay. Angela, good afternoon. Hello, Angela. Okay, not sure where that noise is. Okay, maybe you need to move a bit, Angela, from your position.
Yeah, much better.
Right, good afternoon. Right, good afternoon, Angela. No, cannot hear Angela there. Maybe we might need to change Mr. M and use Zoom instead, because in the morning I think she was perfect.
Okay, maybe or you can call you on WhatsApp then.
Okay, all right. Let me, Angela, I'll give you a call.
And Belinda, she's on the air already.
Belinda, not yet, but the link has been sent to her.
All right.
You need to tackle. I'm saying you need to come in.
Right, 27 after 12 p.m. Right, joined by Angela Jen as well as Belinda. Right, good afternoon, Angela.
Good afternoon, Wildfire. It's great to have you today, Belinda, with us this afternoon. It's Belinda Doveston from HM Learning down in the good old States. Such a pleasure to be with you guys this afternoon.
All right, no, thank you so much for joining us, Belinda, and welcome to the drive.
Thanks so much.
All right.
Yes.
So this is the where we wrap it up. I mean, it's been an exciting 60 days, right?
Yeah, it is.
60 days where we get us celebrate individuals and under the banner Banking on Africa's Future, where we say, look, each individual counts, each story counts, and we've been getting the stories and experiences from different individuals as we continue building towards the 10,000 points of light. And we say, how best do we use radio as a platform to reach 10,000 points of light when individuals are being the drivers of change?
I think radio is critical in terms of getting the conversation started and moving into, and I'm talking specifically responsible citizenship, not so much what you're talking about in terms of the future. And radio certainly has played a crucial role in this because the conversations could have taken place on other platforms, and yet radio lends itself so well to this kind of dialogue and conversation, particularly the kinds of topics and subjects that form part of the ACT platform. So yeah, it certainly has been a very interesting time. I've learned so much, and I'm so grateful to have Belinda with us this afternoon as we bring this to draw this particular series to a close. And I just like to kind of connect with Belinda in the sense that we've had a lot of experience in terms of a lot of delivery mechanisms in relation to getting content out people, and how significant radio becomes to disseminate information in a pretty cost-effective manner. So just your feeling on the importance of radio in these kinds of conversations and dialogue.
Wonderful. Well, I just want to slip in your hands on behalf of everybody. Thank you for your commitment and dedication to this journey and bringing all these wonderful stories to everybody. And I just want to thank you and the team at 1873 for taking up this challenge and, taking this point of life. I think it's absolutely wonderful. So if you haven't yet been thanked, I want to thank you on behalf of everybody for the project. I think, what's amazing about the world we live in right now is the democratization of the airwaves. And we have this amazing platforms like this one in terms of broadcast radio. Then we have the podcast world, which I'm in. And it's just absolutely amazing how if you've got a story, you've got a message, you've got something you want to share, go and create that community of interest, go and create that platform, and you can gather people who are really like some of my podcasts and radio shows I listen to. They're like things I was just really exist, And it's such a powerful way of sharing story and really connecting with things that matter. Actually wonderful.
I really like what you said around creating community of interest, because I think certainly for me starting out on talking about responsible citizenship is really creating a community of interest around people who are not only are we promoting fresh and responsible citizenship, but we're also promoting regional and national pride in the sense of providing a collective voice or a collective view, albeit that there's different views within the collective view around what it means to be a responsible citizen. And that's ultimately for me that is a choice. We choose whether or not we're going to show up as responsible citizens. And I think the interesting part about this journey has been that we've explored different facets of what it means to be a responsible citizen. Tell me from your perspective, what's important about making sure that there are calls to action. Because we can talk all we like, we can just engage in the rhetoric, but if it doesn't translate into action, this becomes yet another talk show or another Indaba or another, as we are so famous in doing in Africa, just really talking and not getting to the point of getting stuff done. So tell me your perspective, Belinda, around the significance and importance of calls to action and people starting to mobilize themselves.
I think you answered your own question there. It is about making the call to action and having something that's meaningful in what in your community, your specialized niche community, having that call to action at every moment. Good marketing 101, you put it out there, you put the information out there, and you bring a practical step to whatever you're doing. And I think that part of taking what can be yakety and turning it into something real is people practical, small nuggets of things to go and do. And our lives are so crazy and so busy, and we're all just trying to kind of get through safely. We need little things that we can build into our existing structures, things that are small, that have, accumulated because we're all doing collectively. I think that's really a small, practical, go and do this today, go and do that tomorrow, go and do that, and that accumulates over time.
That brings me back to, right early on we had Rebecca Christensen from Rabbit Box Productions, and she was talking about hashtag one small thing. And it brings us right back to that loop in the sense that what is the one small action or the one small thing that I can take today, whether that's smiling at a stranger, being courteous to somebody working in a store, walking past somebody who's not a sportsman as we are, perhaps giving them food. All of those things that allow us to then step into offering of ourselves. And I think this is, for me, is really what the call to action is about. It's about when we start to look at what our gifts and talents and strengths are, how do we take them out into the world in a practical way that makes a difference to ourselves, to our families, to the communities that we're a part of, regardless of how big or small those are.
No, that's powerful. And one thing I can perhaps share, this is a radio/podcasting analogy, is that the beauty of radio and being on radio is that you learn to find your voice and you find your way of communicating what's important to you. And it takes practice and effort to find your voice. And I found that it's taken a whole year of podcasting to find what it is I'm really trying to talk about. And in this process of giving back and serving and being a responsible citizen, I do believe that part of this process is about having the courage to find our voice, to find the thing that's meaningful, and then to put our voice behind that and to say that and to communicate that and to be brave to stand by what we believe in. And I think that's part of the journey.
No, it is very much so. When we call it people to action, it is about taking up, it is about being vulnerable, it is about taking risks, sticking your neck out a little bit in terms of belief within yourself and what it is that you have to offer the world. And as you quite rightly say, that does take bravery, it takes courage to do that. And yet there's so many examples that we have, especially over these dialogues, the 114 odd people that we've had on dialogues themselves. We've had the most amazing insights. Some people have given real practical examples. Others have just told their stories. Those stories in and of themselves give people a window into what they also capable of doing.
So earlier on, Angela, we're actually talking about how best does one get ahead in life. And there was a question which was posed. I'll pose this some question to you, Angela, and Belinda as well. Is life a race?
I'm with you on that one.
Is life a race?
Not at all. Is a lot of people often see it as a destination as opposed to the journey. Yeah. It's not about the end point. It's actually about what I've discussed also as part of the challenge. It's about letting go on what you think the end point should be. It is about having a vision, but it's not about getting fixated on that vision because how we're going to get to that vision changes all the time. As long as we open and let go, I don't actually have the dream, have the vision like ATC does have. is does align with Citizenship. We all have, we have that in common where we have a vision for a better world. But it's not about, there isn't a race. This is part of the foolhardiness that we breed into people today, is around the fact that, the competitive nature of the way we grow up today. Sports about just sport, it's sport about all manner of different things that we engage in. It's bigger, better than, and it's all about, am I winning? And it's actually not that at all. In fact, we miss so much along the way, and that's what the focus is about, whether we are winning or whether we're losing. For me, it's more about, and I think this is the most crucial part, it's not about losing, it's about learning. And am I learning along the way on the journey? Belinda, I'm not sure what your thoughts on it are.
No, very, very aligned. I was actually thinking of the game Monopoly. Many of us have grown up playing, and there's one winner, and there's a whole lot of grateful, very sad losers. And I think that we are brought up in an environment where you win because you beat other people, and they don't get ahead. And actually, creating collaborative ways of winning as a whole is more powerful. I heard about this board game called Pandemic, which I'd love to get my hands on, where the players in the game choices. I know about that one. That's a very cool game. And in Pandemic, you are basically fighting like an invasive world of outbreak of a dead disease, and you play as players against the disease to try and quell it. So you work as a team. So you're playing against the scenario as opposed to playing against each other. And I think if we could just build it more of that into our society, where we are, as a collective purpose, we're working together to solve we'll be racing and we're winning. Everyone will be winning.
Right.
We've actually we've both had choices now too as well. We have been successful competitions when we do the rest of us camp. We pull these schools so that the whole community can see how well they've done in terms of the game being played. So it's again to bring around the learning of what competition does to people and what it does to society versus what happens when we pool our collective efforts and we come together as a collaborative community. So I'm with Belinda on this whole thing around, we are needing to build a collaborative world and to past competition. People talk about competition, healthy competition, this, that, and everything. It really is about moving into a world in which there's, the way to bridging, for me, equality or inequalities or inequities. The way to bridge that is to cultivate collaboration. And I don't know that we've all got our heads around what that exactly looks like or what that means. I think we are a society and a world in process and in progress. And when we go back to a lot of the indigenous teachings, a lot of what we are needing to learn about collaboration has already formed and been a part of the collaborative teaching or collaborative way of living. So I don't think we have to go too far to look for examples of how to go about being a more collaborative world.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that part of that struggle is trying to work out the difference between collaboration or the coexistence of collaboration and your own internal excellence. And that collaboration doesn't mean that you aren't self-competitive in a positive way, pursuing the boundaries of excellence, because that does make the world a better place. But somehow the two things can live together at the same time, which is, odd.
Well, I think, what you're talking about, when you start to focus on the individual themselves and around improving ourselves as we go along, I think that's part of the journey of life. I don't believe that we are meant to be doing the same old over and over again and staying stuck in a loop. I believe that we are meant to be learning and growing. And, if that means I'm going to stretch myself out of my comfort zone to do something different, then that's not possibly what it means. So we have all the answers about it all, but I think we've gained a lot of insight through the challenge and the insights that have been shared by these incredible people who've all been part of this journey. And I, for one, not only want to thank both you and Marty for accompanying all. We've done a good collective journey together. It's not been an either or. This has been our collective journey, and I know for one, I have learned a tremendous amount, not only about responsible citizenship, I've learned a tremendous amount about myself and about people. And so it's been an incredible journey, and I really am really grateful on very many different levels.
Right. I also have Angela, journalism students that I would ask about any insights for Angela and Belinda, ladies? Hello. Right, not sure if they can hear me. Right, Mr. M, on your side,
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, can Angela hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, and is it Belinda, the last name, or Doveston?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, Belinda Doveston. Doveston is his surname.
Oh, that's good. Oh, it's a dove with a stone without an E.
Yeah.
So good afternoon. We're talking about this issue, how best can one get ahead in life? And is life itself a race? I know you have answered it. And when you talk about responsible citizenship, there are two schools of thoughts. One says, I plan to be responsible, and the other, I am responsible by nature. Which one would you go for? The one who plans, or the one who just does what they need to do as the problems manifest themselves?
Sorry, why don't you just clarify the question for me, because the sound was a little bit blurred from Mr. Mawiri.
Okay, there are two schools of thoughts on responsible citizenship. One says, I am responsible by nature. The other says, I plan and I become responsible by planning.
Okay. So, Angela, what Mr. M is saying, he says there are two schools of thought
Two
here.
schools of thought, right?
Yes, you got that. One that says, I am responsible by nature. And then the second one that says, I plan first.
To me, this goes straight to the dialogue of the debate about whether leaders are born or made. And, you know, if we're looking at the results of what we're seeing in society today, my question back is are we seeing responsible citizenship on a broad scale? And I'm not talking, when I say broad scale, I'm talking on that meta level. You know, the way that 1873 talks about Africa without borders, where it's a collective, versus me and my particular little community. I think, you know, when you're going into community, people will tell you that they're responsible based on what their definition of responsible is. And one of the keystones for me when we define what responsible citizenship is about is it causing harm to another? If it's causing harm to someone else, then how can it be responsible for the good of all? And I think that for me is the innovation of the conversation is not just about me, myself, I, and the small pocket that I come from or that I occupy, but it's getting to a broader global definition of what it means for us to collectively live together in harmony. And to transcend all of these isms and obias that separate us. So, you know, if you're asking somebody in there, so if I go into one of the communities that we do some work in and we ask some of the community members if they're being responsible, and it could be even gang members saying they're being responsible in their frame of reference. So I think for me it's around a common language, and I don't believe, as part of my own belief system, that we can ever stop learning. And again, going back to that dialogue, are leaders born or made? I don't believe that I don't know that it's an either or. I think that some people do have an inherent knack for it, but certainly people can learn how to be leaders. I don't think we need to write people off because they don't know how. Very often the how is just a learning journey. So, we all have natural gifts and aptitudes and talents. Some are stronger. I mean, I'm useless at administration and accounting and all of those things. It's not my gift.
Right.
I have gifts in other areas. So for me, the journey has been a huge learning journey around, you deal with conversations and topics like this, and at the end of the day, I have to go back and ask myself, so have I been responsible through my day today? And it's not about being perfect. It's going back to where can I have learned something new and become just a little bit more responsible today than I was yesterday. So, Belinda, I'm not sure what you think about that question. That question is my take.
Yeah, I think
that's right or wrong. Huh?
I think that there's, those two schools of thought can actually live together. The reason I say this is when we think about our human rights also come with responsibilities. So whether or not we act on our responsibilities and fulfill them, we are still responsible for the rights we get the benefit of having. And I think that if you're not fulfilling your responsibilities, you can have a merry life and you can, there's wonderful things that you can experience, but there's this elastic band that gets stronger and stronger, creating a tension between your behavior and your responsibility and what responsibility really means. And at some point, that band goes snap, and we are faced with a life experience that is a wake-up call. And yeah, so that's my view, is that you're responsible whether you are being responsible or not. And it's just a question of when those two worlds come together.
And I think also how awake you are in terms of understanding that you are responsible for your own choices. A lot of people aren't. They want to blame. We have the drama triangle where you have people going into, there's a persecutor, there's a victim, and there's a rescuer, as opposed to the enablement dynamic, which is around having a challenger, a creator, and a support role that takes over there. And we're all in different ways, in different aspects, on a different part of that continuum, because it isn't an either or. And I think that Belinda nails that. It isn't an either or, it's a continuum. And some people, because they have the advantage of having access to information and learning more than others, maybe a little bit more, a little bit further along the continuum than others. It's not about, and again, it goes back to, it's not about a race. It is where you are. I love to use the Comrades Marathon as an analogy. Some runners haven't even kicked the block out from underneath the bed yet, let alone gone running. Some people are starting to do some push-ups and sit-ups and start to get a little bit fit. Some people might have done a few 100 meters or running occasionally in the afternoon, then starting to go and do a 5-kilometer run, then doing, a 20 and a half marathon, then going on to do the Comrades Marathon. So it's not about where you are, it's about the rightness for you of where you are in your own journey. And it's about tolerance and compassion for wherever the person is in their journey, as opposed to judgment.
Yeah, that's very interesting. So, Belinda, do you want to be part of this bank of blind people who just carry on with life, and time is the currency, and they just do the best they can with the time made available by somebody other than them, and the time itself is in a race. 1 second becomes the next second, the next 60 seconds become a minute becomes an hour, and we are helpless. We actually don't know how to arrest time and store it for ourselves, for our convenience. So we thought of using people as currency and bring them into one community so that we all can shine our individual lights, and we call each person a point of light. And from today, Belinda, you are a point of light, because each one of us counts. Some never shine better than others, but they still shine.
So that, yeah, I heard. Yeah, thank you so much for that, and for reminding everybody that every person is a point of light wherever you may stand, wherever you may find yourself, that every human being, no matter what you might do, whether you feel like you're not worthy or you've got nothing special to offer, just being a responsible citizen in your own world, in your own community, is your light shining. I think that's really a key message everyone should take from that.
Very much so.
So,
Very much so.
What number is Belinda? Because I was in another conversation this morning. You know what I was being told? I was being told that whites are not African. Mawere, get to understand this. When we talk about an African, we're talking about a black person. And I said, no, what about at midnight? What are we? There is no light in Africa. Who am I? Am I just a human being? Is it not sufficient? So we were fighting over this, just the right of a human being to be human. And other people say, no, you are wrong. And I said, how can I be wrong and God is right?
You know, what I could add to that is, on Heritage Day, I did some thinking around heritage and what does it mean in South Africa. It's really complex, you know. We've been navigating through a whole pile of things. And I thought, actually it's really, really simple. Our heritage is that we all live on Earth. And no matter where we are and who we are and what color and what part of the world we are, that's our heritage. And best to be a responsible citizen to our complete home, which is this little blue marble flying through space.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more.
Now we want you on this.
Yeah, and that is, it's vested in our humanity and the manner in which we treat one another. You stick people onto an operating theatre, one person black next to a person who's white, and the surgeons lift up the scalpel and cut open their chest. The bones on the inside are white and the blood is still red. And so, I think we can detract and distract from one another in terms of what the outer covering looks like and the color of the outer covering, as opposed to looking back to that heart that sits inside of each one of us that's the same. So, we can make it into anything that we like. Again, it's a choice as to whether people are going to turn that into the patterns of old, or whether we're going to move and shift and change our dialogue into something that's a whole lot more positive and more collaborative, and how can we build a better world together for the future generations. And that, for me, is really a lot of what motivates me.
So, Angela, thank you very much for creating faces in the hundreds. And is it now 114? Is it 114 or 15?
It's 114.
14.
Over 114 interviews. Six we had technical difficulties on, and that's just the way the tech goes. And in the 114, we've actually had some repeat people who've come on a second time, or a third time in the case of somebody like John. So we ended up with 104 people altogether.
Wow. Angela, that's outstanding. Well done. Yeah.
So Belinda,
and thank you to Tanashi and to Wildfire, because together we made it work and together we made it happen.
So thank you. So Belinda, you are number 104. You don't count the double. Or you are 114 if we also take into account the repeat shows, but not repeat content. So you are also 600 plus 1 of the project to get to 10,000 names. And we need your active citizenship to make sure that when we reach 10,000, Belinda, you will have your community within the community, so that those who think Africa is black, they will discover that it's not so. We are all like what Angela says the common thread is the blood that binds us. The brotherhood that binds us. No country can give you a personhood.
Mr. Mawiri. You know, it's like a tapestry. You have every single different color that goes to make a tapestry, or to, you know, if you look at some of the weaving that some of those beautiful weaving blankets that they make. There are so many different colors that are woven into those blankets, and yet without each stitch in those blankets, the blanket would not be complete. And that, for me, is really what the analogy is every single person is a stitch in the humanity of that is Africa, and it's incomplete without each person. So, for me, my prayer today really is that we can transcend the things that separate us, which is things like the color of our skin, age, gender, culture, tribe, and that we can start recognizing within ourselves and within each other the humanity that makes us come together as opposed to that which divides us. And that is my prayer.
Thank you, Angela. And you are welcome, Belinda, to play your part so that when you finish the rest, the character of the journey will include you.
Just very, very grateful. Grateful and incredibly humble.
Thank you very much. And it's another day. It's the 25th of November, the last 25th of November, 2019.
Yeah.
Wildfire,
are you still there?
Yes, I'm here. Sorry, Mr. M, you're going to have to repeat that.
I'm saying is, let's say goodbye to the 25th of November and say we've arrived. And we keep going until we can go no more. But while we are still here, let's play our parts.
Even, you know, every day, let's play our part. Every day, what is it that I can do, that one small thing that I can do to play my part? And that's the request that Madiba gave us, is for each, that it's now our turn. He did what he needed to do. Now it's our turn to play our part. And that, for me, is really a fitting tribute. This is a fitting tribute to beloved Madiba and the legacy that he's asked us to honor and live on.
But Angela is also a Madiba, but she's so humble. So we'll call you Mother Teresa.
I'm just Angela.
Okay, Mother Angela.
Call her Mem Angela.
I'm just Angela. That's all I am. And yeah, it's just an honor and a privilege to be able to do the kind of work that I know Belinda and I both collectively do, in being able to assist people in terms of learning and tapping into what makes them special and what is the contribution that they can make to the world. It doesn't get better than that for me. I don't need to jump out of airplanes. I just need to see the lights switch on in somebody's eyes when they realize just how wonderful they are.
All right. Thank you so much. And then Taku and Prissy, any questions? Okay. They're not there.
Okay.
My sound was
off. Thank you so much, Mr. Mawiri. Thank you so very much for the space that's been created to have these conversations. And yeah, let's see what we can do to continue to help to get to the 10,000 names.
That's right.
Right.
Thank you all. Thank you, Angela.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks, Belinda. Thanks, Wildfire.
All right. Cheers. Thank you, Angela. Right. 1873, Afama, your voice, your power. Good afternoon.
To advertise with us, call our sales and marketing department on 011-5684-272. Terms and conditions apply.